What's up, everybody? So, quick update before dinner. Since it's on the stove and I don't know how much time I'm gonna have, but it's going. It's kind of weird talking to myself since nobody's in here yet that I know of. Hey there. Okay, I guess we're back. So I was hoping to get parts in hand this past week, so at least I could say that I had started shipping before the deadline. So we're good. Yeah, it's probably my shit internet. There's probably children online in the house and God knows what else. No, see, all right, so I was hoping to get parts in hand last week, so at least, like I said, I had started shipping before my deadline. I never expected to be able to get everybody fully shipped out before the end of this month, just because I never expected to get motherfucker. So let's see. I don't know if I can do that midstream. Let's try that, see if that helps. Alright. Okay. What the fuck? Is it because I'm moving so much? Maybe I'll sit still. Looks like I got a little bit better signal that way. Maybe all the movement and all of this is causing everything to go crazy, so I'll just sit with my hands down. And we're back. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I just lost connection altogether and there it goes again. I really don't want to have to record this shit and try to upload it and do all that. It'd be more user friendly, but it just completely negates. Alright. How about some light? Maybe that'll help. I don't fucking know. Anyway, if I had had parts in hand last week, at least I could have said I had started shipping before the deadline. As it is, we're only going to be a few days behind for at least me receiving parts. So it's just going to put me behind shipping a little bit. I'm watching my upload, and it's just up and down, up and down. Like I almost hit a megabyte per second. I'm at about a megabyte per second right now, and now I'm at 392K. It's all over the fucking map. I don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, probably gonna. If I get parts early next week, I'll be able to get the first shipments out towards the end of next week. If I get parts in hand the end of this week, I'll be able to get parts out or shipments started early next week. So it all kind of depends. When it comes to all this network garbage that you see going on, yeah, that's not going to be a problem in the new shop. I'm hardlining the whole fucking thing. Every piece of equipment that has a damn Cat 4 Hey, fucking useless ass piece of shit. Alright, now I'm back. We're about 120 or so, Clint. About 120 left, I believe. I will probably have. I've had a couple of people asking about Ultim tips, so I'll have a few extra on top of what has already sold. I just don't know exactly how many yet. I did ask him; he did overrun those just a hair, but I don't know exactly how many I'm going to end up with, so I can't put them on the site just yet. He did overrun some of the Ultim sections, but that's not that big a deal since I've still got well over half of what I ordered available for you guys. So I'll have bubble sections and straight sections. If you look over that shoulder right there, those are all straight Ultim sections, short and tall. So I got fucking shit tons of those. Copper upgrade kits will also be back in stock on the site once I get those in hand. You guys will be able to grab those up again. Yeah. So I think that's what we've got so far. And whenever the wife texts the phone that is right here, sitting on this little stand, I'll have to jump off and go partake of a meal, which is spaghetti. So I can hang out for a little while. So if you missed it, chimney sleeves are at the laser engraver. Ultim is at the vapor polisher. Still got to machine the chimney tubes and the top fill caps. Those are still yet to be machined. He's expecting to have things back from the laser engraver and the Ultim polisher this week. Not sure if it'll be towards the end of this week and I'll be able to pick up parts, or if it'll be towards the end of this week and I'll have to wait until early next week to pick up parts. So that's where we're at. I thought I had those on the site, Clint. They'll be the same price. Whatever's up there already is what they will be. 15-20 bucks, I think, is what I have on those. I'm not sure. I have to double check. They may have not made it back up after the whole website rehash. $5-10 pin sets. No, so 5-10 pin sets. I'll be running those whenever I get my shit set up and going here. It's a little bit longer of a wait on those, but hopefully we'll get that running. That might be one of the very first things I do because they're relatively simple. Probably pretty easy to program, and there's not a whole lot of extra work. They can pretty much be done right off the lathe. Yeah, I think they can be done pretty much right off the lathe. So we'll probably dial in the lathe with something like that. Possibly, Brandon. Possibly. I may make some Addy stands. Believe it or not, an Addy stand is the very first Scottua product ever made. Some little Scottua tribute for you there. Very first thing I ever did was an Addy stand. It held 5 or 6 Addies. Ooh, I don't know, Clint. The top cap one? I don't know what the top cap one is. And you guys, when you adjust these pins, let me get this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. When you adjust these pins, you should never adjust from the insulator. That insulator should stay bottomed out on the top cap, just like you see it there. It should never come out from there unless you're cleaning it. And if you have to put that much pressure when you're installing an Addy, I don't know if I got anything laying around here. Let's see. What do I got? I know I got something somewhere. I mean, I know you guys know this already, but I want to do it anyway just for the hell of it. That's bottomed out, right? I mean, you see that I'm not really putting any pressure on it at all. I don't know if it's focused or not, but it's kind of ghetto. So that's the tiniest bit of bottomed out, right? Then you adjust. You can torque that a little bit. You don't have to go crazy. Contact is contact. Okay, so the tube flushed out, and I still got rattle. Still got rattle. And you can see how, I mean, I'm like quarter turn at a time. Still got some rattle. No rattle. And there it is. I mean, you don't have to put that huge amount of force on the pins so that they're stripping out. Like you should never have to worry about stripping a pin. You don't have to put an exorbitant amount of torque on these things to get them to make contact and perform, right? If you want to take it off, you take the whole thing out, you back that pin off, and then it threads off easily. There's no extra force involved. There's no, getting rubber grippies or anything like that. It's just it's gentle pressure that keeps your top caps from locking up on you. It keeps your pins from stripping out. It keeps you from denting batteries. Hey, Rich, you did make it, bud. No, that wasn't me, Brandon. The one I did was a long piece of aluminum. It was for housing your Addies when not in use, basically. It wasn't really a build stand. You never got a pin set with a... No, because of the hybrids. Are you talking about... the insulators in these? The 510 insulators? Is that what you're talking about for those? I should have custom chimneys back when the V4 run comes in. I over-ordered on those so I could have extras. so you guys could get customs because I was running low. Yes, I am, dude. I've been pretty much using it exclusively, with the exception of what's in my tanks, my big tanks. Yeah, so boxes will probably happen once I get my own machines. Like I said, I'm kind of stacked up with projects for those things already, and they're not even here yet. So I don't know how long it'll take, but I do plan on making some more. Just not out of this garbage. This stuff is good for prototyping, and this specific material is not as bad as some of the other stuff, especially not for smaller stuff. I don't know if it'll show on camera, but see that crack right there? So this took, I think, 3 hits. I've dropped it 3 times. So there's one right there. There's a ding. That one up here is the second time, and the third time is when it actually cracked. It landed right down here, on next to one of those screws, and it just sent the shock right up the screw and popped it right there. But so this stuff is a lot better. It's just a lot more expensive. So eventually I'll be making them out of a lot of the engineering materials, like the micartas, the phenolics, maybe Delrin, probably some UHMW. Delrin for black, UHMW for white, micartas for the cool effects. I want to do some Juma, but that stuff's really fragile too, and I don't know. Definitely some aluminum. Maybe if I can get the tools and tool paths and all that stuff figured out, maybe some titanium, but I don't know yet. And I haven't fully decided on style yet. I'm still playing with styles. So this one is 218-350s. Definitely a DNA 75, just for the simple fact that I like the height. I like how tall. This is how I hold it all the time, right? So it sits on that pinky, and it's right there. If I turn it around, same way. You know, it's right there. So it's just the perfect dip. Yeah, Ultim. Good call, Clint. So I like the DNA 75. 1, because I can put internal batteries in it. 2, because it's the right height, and yeah, it's a DNA. So there's that. This is an Aries tank platform thing. Good friend sent it to me to try out, and so far it's pretty cool with this juice. It seems to be holding up okay, just because this juice has hardly nothing in it besides PG and VG. Little nick. I don't know if I can see the coil. It's got a little bit of gunk on it, not too bad. I've put, this is probably the 3rd tank full through it, so maybe 4th. So this was freshly charged this morning. I'm at 15 watts on a 1 ohm coil, and I'm at 25%. And yeah, it's 218-350s. So I got 700 mile in here, I think. Maybe a little more. I can't remember what the ratings are on these things. Those little purple fuckers. I don't remember. I don't have any out here. So yeah. But it's not, I'm not using these as a, only setup type of thing. It's sort of, if I'm in a place where I can't actually vape, for those I use my big boxes and my big tanks. I'm using this now just because of the juice. I'm trying to figure out if I nailed that recipe or not, and I think I did. I fucked up when I was mixing it, because I didn't actually get to measure the sweetener I was using. The little fucking vial that shit came in, you just tip it ever so slightly and it just poured. I was trying to get drops and it just poured, so I have no idea how much was in it. But it's not so bad, so you know, it works pretty good. Typically I use the Zenith tank by Inokin, Phil Basardo, and baby Greek. What the hell is his name? Demetrius. I really like that coil. The tank, not so much, but I like that coil a lot. If I'm not using that, I'm using a Kabuki with a what is that, Nautilus coil, I think. Removable batteries, yeah, I get it, but I like not having to carry extra batteries around. You know, I can carry one of these and my big box, and I'm set for a full 12, 14 hours away from home. And who doesn't have a micro USB? Every phone made that's not an Apple has one, you know, along with God knows whatever else. Hell, my headphones charge with one. And I'm using a pre-built coil in here. This was the coil that came with the thing. The more I vape, the lazier I get. That's the main reason I'm not using my tank right now, is because the 3 I have running with the 3 different flavors in them are all in desperate need of a re-wick. And I'm just lazy. You know, so, but typically I don't run rebuildable mouth-to-lung tanks, just because it's hard enough trying to keep my big boy tanks set up. You know, that doesn't mean I'm not going to make one, because, you know, I'll probably have a rebuildable version and a version that uses those same Inokin coils, because I really like that coil. And I don't have to worry about making a 510 thread, which isn't a big deal. It's just, if you don't have to, why would you? So yeah, 9 milligram and 1 ohm coil, 15 watts is treating me pretty good. Problem with triple 21700s is the thing gets so damn big. I mean, this is, ooh, there's something in there. That is already dual 21700s, and it's already pretty thick. You know, compared to an 18650, to give you an idea. You know, they're huge. 26650. You know, so I'm a fan of as small as possible, right? Hence this thing. You know, that's a 75 with 2 batteries, so I could conceivably put a couple of 18500s in there, and it would just get a little taller. The tank would pop out further. But it's already a handful. It's comfortable as hell. It's just, you know, it's just a handful, and especially in your pocket. You know, if you slip it in your pocket, there's that extra thickness down there that digs into your leg, and got enough thickness down there already. Hey, as soon as Evolve puts a Type-C connector on there, I'm all for it, man. I can't wait for them to get some 5 amp charging going on. That'd be awesome. They'd never do it. Yeah, and hopefully I can, you know, when I can iterate with the right materials. So basically, the current version of the box is the way it is because I set it up to be printed. So wall thicknesses and clearances and all that are the way they are because I'm restricted to how thin I can make things by the material I'm printing. Right? So the wall thicknesses need to be a certain way so they'll actually form, right? With machining, it's a bit of a different ball game because I can make this stuff a lot thinner. I can hold clearances, a lot tighter. I don't need as much material to maintain strength. So I'm hoping I can slim it down a little bit. It won't be a whole lot, but I can slim it down some, just take some weight out. I'm printing right now. That was the whole firmware thing I alluded to earlier. I was trying to update the firmware on my printer, and I'm actually printing a single 18500 version of this right now with some material removed, just because I want to see one, how it looks, and two, how it feels, and three, how it holds up. A regulated tube mod? This is not 4 years ago. People, that's still a thing. Hey, you can always get an 18500 and put a kick in one of these. You can probably still find those. You remember those? You ever heard of a kick? That's an Evolve product. Those are the batteries that are in the current version of the box. Golisi 21700s. And it's kind of cool. They come in these nice little battery cases. I've got a whole stack of them over there, empty. There you go. Cookie knows what's up. Andrew still got his kicks laying around. I remember you rocked a few of those for a while. Yep, the S35s is what's in the boxes. I got a whole box of them left over there because MOQ and all. They're really good batteries for regulated stuff. Yeah, the new Samsungs, the 40Ts, outperform a little bit, but you'd probably be talking about an extra 30 minutes of vape time. God, the Provari. What, I still have mine. I'd really like to be able to make a version. Like, I wonder if I could, like, bring back the Provari with, like, updated internals. That'd be cool. Those things are tanks. Hopefully end of the week this week. If not, then early next week, Andrew. Yeah, ProVape is now defunct, sadly enough. FDA put them out of business. Not directly. I don't go spreading rumors. They didn't want to fight with all the stuff, so they just kind of... But yeah, that's who made the Provari. Oh yeah, lathe equals lots of different tip designs too. Yeah. We just deplete your collection. I mean, all that's way down the line. Like I said, it's going to be a big enough deal just to get everything installed on that slab out there and and under power and working, and then fighting them to get what I want out of them. So that's probably going to take better part of the year. Unfortunately, I'm just kind of leaving myself some wiggle room there, but yeah, I'll be at Vapors Carnival in Raleigh. Is it Raleigh or Charlotte? It's one of the two. In July, I've got a spot in the Modders Gallery, and I'm gonna really try to have something there, but I do not know if that'll happen, and if it does, what it'll be. That's going to be a really tall order to be able to get the machines. All right, here's what's still got to happen with the shop. Right, all I've got's a concrete slab. That's what I forgot to do today. Fuck. All right, I got to call the people and tell them to bring the building, and it's 1 to 3 weeks, so that's towards the end of May. All right, once the building's there, I have to insulate it, which means I got to buy this shit in cans, spray it on the walls, and let it set. Then I've got to wire it. Once I personally run the wire from the pole to the building and set the meter base, then I can get the utility company out to actually put in a meter. At that point, I'll have power, right? Then I'll be able to hang the panel inside, hang conduit, because you know it's a metal frame building, so I'm going to run conduit to everything. Run conduit, all the fixtures, lights, plugs, wire to the different machines, which will be to a phase converter, and then from the converter to the machines. Get the internet, get some connectivity out there. Set up the network. Once the building is there, I have a date for the building, I'm gonna start the process of getting the machines. So I gotta get all that financing done, get the machines on order. I don't know if they're gonna be on a slow boat from China, or if they'll be if they're warehoused somewhere here in the States. I know the reseller is in the States, I just don't know where the machines are. So that could be 6 weeks. So if I can get the building there by the end of May, I might be able to get all that stuff done by the end of June. So I don't even know if the machines will be here by the time the show rolls around. They may not. At which point, there's not a whole lot I can do. I'll bring whatever tanks I have left, if any, and that'll be it. So machines are 3-phase 220, but unfortunately I only have single phase here, so I got to run phase converters. Not even at the utility company, there's no 3-phase on this road at all, and I really doubt they'll run 3-phase power from wherever the nearest source is. I'm sure they would, but I don't know that I can afford it. So there's that. Oh, busy's not even the word for it. Busy is not even the word. I'm hoping I can get the installation done in a weekend, and then I'll be able to, I'm going to have to rent a damn machine to run the cable. It's probably going to be $1,000 worth of fucking cable to get from the building to the pole. Once that's there, then I can actually, I don't have to have the meter there to run conduit and all that, so I can kind of work on all that while I'm waiting on the utilities to come out and set the meter. I want to say it's one big rotary converter that'll run both machines. I've got to run air, so I got to get a compressor in there, hardline all the air to roughly where it's going to end up. Then I've got all the extra ancillary machines. I've got to find a chop saw. The lathe will be able to bar feed. I've got a single bar feeder that I'm going to go with for the lathe. But to run random stuff, to run boxes or anything like that, I'm going to have some kind of saw to chop up raw material. So there's that. Problem is I honestly don't even know yet where all this stuff is going to go. I've got a rough idea. Even with a 24 by 30 building, it's still going to be tight in there, getting everything laid out to where it needs to be. And I'm not even sure yet where the stuff's going to go. So I'm probably not even going to be operational before August, if even then. I don't even, like I said, once I know how long it'll take the machines to actually deliver, then I'll have a better idea of timelines for everything else. So I'll probably have the basics there, like I'll have the compressor set, basically where it's going to go, shelving units and desks, stuff like that, tables. I'll have the bulk of the inventory over there, so I'm going to reorganize all of my inventory into a single 72-inch long rolling like toolbox, like you see, like Snap-on style, that kind of toolbox. Everything's going to be in drawers and little bins, and it'll be really easy to get to. I won't have to stumble. I'll have the laser over there set up. I'll have the printer over there set up. I'll have the little CNC over there set up. So basically everything in here will be over there and workable to a degree before the machines show up. So some of the stuff will already be done. I'll be operational to the degree I am now, at least. So what I'm going to be looking at, it's from a place called Automate CNC. Yeah, they're China machines, but pretty much every machine got pieces of parts made in China anyway, so you can't really buy a machine that's 100% USA made. And even if you could, they're exorbitantly expensive. So Automate CNC is the company. I'm going to get their 425 vertical mill and the ST30 lathe. It's a little turret lathe with a single bar feeder, 8 stations on both machines. So no, I'm sorry, the VMC, the vertical machining center, will have 10 tools, a 10 tool umbrella style tool changer, and the lathe will have an 8 station turret with a small bed section that I can bolt tools to. It's going to be as much the way I want it as I could possibly afford. I'm hoping, over time I can upgrade those machines to faster, stronger, heftier machines. They're not slouches by any stretch. The vertical mill has got an 8,000 RPM 5 horsepower spindle motor on it, all servo driven. The lathe, I believe it's got the same. I think it's a 5 horsepower spindle motor on it too. All servo driven. They're all on Japanese linear rails. Only thing I couldn't get that I really want is a probing system, which I can bolt on, but that probing system is somewhere around the cost of the machine. Well, no, that's not true. It's like $5 to $8 grand for a Renishaw probe system. But getting the controller to actually work with it is a whole other ballgame. They're all running Siemens controllers, so they're not hindered in any way. And I would like to have a 4th axis on the mill. So that's something that I'll have when I buy the machine. I'll have the controller set up for that, so it'll be an option I can bolt on at any time. The controller will be there. I'll just need to get the drive and the actual axis, the motor, and I'll be able to drop that on there. But I don't plan on doing a ton of fourth axis work there. The lathe also has the capability to bolt on a live tooling spindle on the bed, so that might be a different route. Nice, Andrew. Yeah, it's a solid mod. If I didn't have mine, that's probably what I would run, even though it's using like a Yeehee chip or a Wahai chip or whatever they call it. Not a fan of that specific chip, especially for internal charging. Take your batteries out, swap batteries, don't use it to charge. They may have gotten better recently, but I know initially when it first came out they had some charging issues, a lot of extra heat where it didn't need to be, stuff like that. So, but it's a solid mod, nice feel. Some of them are kind of attractive aesthetically speaking, but that big hexagonal fire button just kind of, plus the color screen and all that. The goal, the end goal of the whole thing, Clint, is yes, I want to be able to run those machines unattended, and the end game for that is to have the two machines running similar cycle times. And what that means is I want to be able to, for example, be able to blank these out on the lathe. So any feature that I could possibly turn be turned on the lathe, and they'll just be dropping off into a pan, right? For a whole bar's worth, or however much of a bar I need to put in there, so that I can have a set number of them in the mill to do all the mill work. So if I can say it takes 24 hours to run a whole bar of stainless in the lathe, I want to be able to have the mill have a 24-hour cycle time with however many of these I can get on the bed of the machine. So if the machine can do 30 in 24 hours, then that works great. So I come home from work, I put a new bar of stock in the lathe, I go to the mill, I take all the finished parts out, take all the in-progress parts from the lathe, bolt them to the fixture in the mill, and hit go on both machines. Then I can go fill orders, or I can engrave sleeves, or I can do whatever, and those just run, and they'll run until the next day at that time, in which I do it again. So presumably I can run one part a week at scale and get however many done, right? So if I can do 100 decks in a week, cool. I run 100 decks that week. On the weekend, I switch over the machines to the top caps. Same deal, right? Run as many as I can run on a lathe so that I can feed the mill and just flush it through. So presumably within, and there's going to be overlap. So the lathe will be able to do it faster than the lathe. The lathe can do it faster than the mill can, just because of how they work. So I'll definitely be backed up to the mill, but there's a lot of parts, especially on the tanks and stuff, that are lathe only. So while I'm catching up with the mill, I'll be able to run lathe only parts, like the chimney caps, the chimney sleeves, the chimney tubes, insulators, the bottom insulators, the tank sections, stuff like that. So yes, it won't. They have the capability. I won't have the hardware to automatically gauge the tools in process. So what I'll have to do is basically run as many as I can run on a tool before the tool starts to degrade, and that'll be the run limit. So I'll know how long that takes, how many I get, and what my surface finishes do based on tool wear. And once I know that information, I can plan for it. So when that happens, then I'll be able to say, okay, I can run, maybe just one run off of this one insert before it's shot, and my surface finish takes a shit. So I'll do that, and as long as I can make it through one 24-hour time period, however many parts that is, with each tool, then I'm golden, because I can change tools, load more material, do all that at one time, and hit go and let it take off running again. That's the goal anyway. I won't have tool breakage detection. I won't have feature recognition, automatic probing, or anything like that on these machines, because they're less expensive machines. The machine I really want from Haas is about $250,000. It has all that feature. So between the lathe, they make a lathe for about $250 that will basically make the deck for the tank one shot and done. One machine, it does it all, and it drops the finished part. And it has all that extra stuff on it. So I'd love to be able to eventually get to that one day, but I doubt it. Worst case scenario is at least I'll be able to prototype my own parts. So I'll be able to make one 25mm tank and say, yes, this works great. It draws exactly like I want. It shuts airflow like I want. It feeds juice like I want. Everything's golden. I've made one. I've tested it. Now I can go to my machinist and say, here, I know the design is good. I need 500 of them, or 1,000 of them, or whatever it is, and let him do all that production work. Worst case scenario. And then I'll probably land somewhere in between where I can make, I don't know, 50 a month. Who knows, and maybe January I make 50 25mm tanks, and in February I make 10 15 boxes, and in March maybe I make 30 or 40 drippers, and in April or May go back to 25mm tanks, or it'll give me some flexibility as far as what I can make, when I can make it, and how many I make. And that's sort of what I need, right? So I can be a little more nimble and get a lot more stuff out, just into the wild. Because I hate having to wait 2-3 months, 4 months, almost a year now for the V4s to get parts in hand. I want to be able to actually make something. And I've got all kind of other shit that's not even close to vapor-related rattling around in my head. I briefly looked at flashlights for a little while. I have pieces and parts somewhere for flashlights, so I can design one of those. There's pens, writing implements that I want to make. I've designed a keyboard, like a fucking computer keyboard. I want to make one of those. These things, I've got a design for those. Several, actually. There's all kind of stuff I want to be able to put out that I just don't have the capacity to do yet. So that's where I'm trying to get to. Eventually, I'll be able to just have an idea, spend a few days hashing out a design, and go make one and do it. I've got a damn 60-watt CO2 laser sitting here that's buried under a mountain of boxes, trash mostly. Just the 3D printers over there, just chugging away. Little mill over there, So I've got the capability to be able to do this stuff. Computers, I designed a computer itself that I want to be able to make. And I designed things based on either industry standard production methods and capabilities or my personal production methods and capabilities. So when I design something like a computer case, I've got to do it in a certain way, and I have to make certain sacrifices and cut certain corners to be able to get it done. Same with keyboard. I cut that. Come to find out, it's the wrong kind of acrylic, which is why it looks like garbage. So I've got shit that I've designed that I've tried to do certain ways, it just didn't work, So I'm trying to upgrade my capability. But yeah. Dinner's taking longer than I thought. Let's give a check. How's the sketty coming? Yes, it would, Clint. Yes, it would. Ooh. Let me know when it comes out of the oven. Oh, Jesus. How's the steady coming? It's done. Bread's warming up now. I want the new iPad mini. I can't make this up. Take care, Clint. Steven, I think I've got about 120 or so left. Yeah, 120, 130, something like that. Ish. I'd have to check, and I'm hesitant to touch anything internet related right now just because I've got a stable connection and I seem to be doing pretty good. Take care, Brandon. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with what I've got. I appreciate you guys sticking it out through all the random network issues that I constantly have going on here. Fooding your vape gear is kind of frowned upon in some circles, Brandon. But for a fee, no, they'll come nice and crispy clean and yeah. So on that note, I'm going to go partake of said sketty and get my grub on. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will be back soon. As soon as I know something extra, you guys will be the next to know. So take care, and we will catch you next time. Later.